This is the City of Bloomington Budget 101 four-part video series. This video is part 3, Process to Product. Let's talk about the budget and key components and use fiscal 2021 as an example. The total budget citywide is $230.3 million. That's an increase of $2.8 million over the fiscal 20 adopted budget, or 1.2%. The general fund budget for fiscal 21 is presented at $110.2 million, which is an increase of $1.2 million over fiscal 20, or 1.1%. Other highlights in the fiscal 21 budget included capital projects totaling $41 million. That's an increase of just under $1 million from the prior fiscal year, or 2.2%. The general fund balance is estimated at the end of fiscal 21 at just under $23 million. Let's learn a little bit more about the city's budget process. The city budgets on a line item basis, and there are over 4,000 accounts that are looked at and determined individually. Finance includes revenues, intergovernmental, insurance, and loss allocations. Major tax revenues have been tracked by month for over 15 years to model seasonality. Human resources. Compensation is entered by employee based on union contracts, which there are currently 11, salary bands, health, IMRF, pension rates, etc. Departments. All other operating level accounts, revenue and expenses, and capital projects are completed by departments. Amounts are entered into a 4-year average tracking worksheet for comparison and review process by the finance department. Transaction descriptions are to be included by departments. Consolidation. Finance consolidates all of this information and reviews for variances. Balancing. Finance presents findings to its city administration, then to the city council and to the community. On this screen, you can see how the budget dollars are allocated as an example using the fiscal 21 budget. The biggest player in this budget is the Public Safety Department, which is made up of police, fire, and the communication center. This includes the police and fire pension and makes up over 50% of the general fund budget annually. The next biggest player in the general fund is Parks, Rec, and Cultural Arts. This makes up close to 11% of the city budget for fiscal 21. Other highlights on this page include a transfer annually to the Asphalt and Concrete Fund for resurfacing and sidewalk work in the city. As we continue, how the budget dollars are allocated on a city-wide basis for fiscal 21. As talked about on the previous slide, the general fund makes up about $110 million in expenses for fiscal 21. That is 48% of the overall total of $230 million. The capital funds, including the state motor fuel tax, is just under $29.5 million, or 13%. Following that, the water fund is nearly $25 million, or 11%, followed by insurance and internal service funds, which are $17 million, or 7.5%, followed by the sewer fund at $11 million, and including the arena at $5 million, which is just under 2%. All other funds are about $4.8 million, or 2.1% of the budget, getting us to our total of $230 million for the adopted budget for fiscal 2021. So what do the taxpayers get for their dollars? Let's talk about what makes up the budget as far as budget dollars at work. So the police in fiscal 19 had over 78,000 calls for service, an average of 214 per day. Fire had over 11,400 fire/rescue calls, or 31 per day. Parks, the attendance over 500,000 throughout the various entities of rec, aquatics, ice, zoo, golf, SOAR, and the BCPA. They maintain 38 parks, 6 public buildings, 3 spray parks, 2 pools, 5 lakes, 30 miles of trail, soccer fields, an ice rink, 3 golf courses, a skate park, a zoo, and a cultural arts venue. They plant over 600 trees annually, and they maintain just under 6,000 trees. Community Development issued over 2,200 building permits. The Economic Development Department had 305 business contacts. Facilities maintained over 1 million square feet of building. The library had over 325,000 visitors, and the arena had over 141,000 attendees. Public Works maintained over 803 lane miles. This includes repair, traffic, engineering, lights, snow removal, resurfacing oversight. The Solid Waste Department had trash recycling hauled of over 22,000 tons, 45.5 million pounds. They hauled over 34,971 cubic yards of brush, and the sewer water system maintained equaled 1,128 miles. Water pumped 3.6 billion gallons annually, 9.8 million gallons per day. Administration. Finance processed over 375,000 utility bills and related payments. The city clerk office had over 35,000 phone calls received and 1,400 FOIA requests that were processed. The legal department had over 1,000 administrative court cases processed. The Human Resources Department had 4,000 applications processed with 100 full-time positions being filled. And the Information Services Department maintains over 3,000 devices and 100 applications maintained over 40 different locations. Thank you for your interest in the City of Bloomington's budgeting process. Additional budget information can be found on the finance page of the city's website at cityblm.org.